Now let's get expert insights into these stories. I'm now joined by legal practitioner Liberoso Shoma. Thank you for your time, sir. Now let's get a reaction to the judgment by the Supreme Court, which has affirmed the election victory of Edo State Governor Monday Okpehbolo. What's a reaction to this, sir?
Yeah, thank you. What will be my reaction to it? I have consistently said it that this idea of going to court and believing that the court will overturn, local governorship election in Nigeria, especially when it has to do with presentation of witnesses at the tribunal, and then largely relying on documentary evidence vis-a-vis, presentation of witnesses, and then generally, the applicability of Section 137 of the Electoral Act. I've consistently said it that, considering the time frame for which, petitioners are called to prove election irregularity, it's almost a difficult task proving an election irregularity, especially in, presidential election and governorship election in Nigeria. So I had said this even after the election in Edo, after the tribunal delivered the judgment. I had said if I were the, the petitioner, I wouldn't even bother going to Court of Appeal. But typical of politicians, they had gone to Court of Appeal and gone to Supreme Court. And today, the Supreme Court had heard unanimously. Again, just the same way the tribunal heard unanimously, the Court of Appeal heard unanimously, and the Supreme Court also had heard unanimously, that failure to call oral evidence in areas where documentary evidence are glaring inconsistent certainly would be fatal to the petition. And because those rules have been laid down succinctly by the same Supreme Court before now, including in cases where the PDP had previously won, that was why I had advised that there was no need, to go to court. But, the slogan here is go to court. And so they had gone to court, and today the court had finally put a finality to it, because I also think this idea of going to court, even when it is obvious that the court cannot undo what had been done, also puts distractions on elected officials, who have to consistently, be looking over their shoulders until the final determination of the matter by the Supreme Court.
Right. So now let's go back to the shadow government movement by Pat Utomi. Nigeria runs a presidential system, not a parliamentary one. Yet, Pat Utomi has unveiled his shadow cabinet. So what can come of this, since it's not a legally recognized platform? Would you say that this is just for the optics?
Yeah, yes, I think it's just for the optics. And also, I think that these are my advice. Professor Pat Utomi, considering the back and forth with the name, especially, having worn the cloak of a politician, I think Pat Utomi should have exercised restraint. Like I said in previous intervention, it is easy to call that same shadow government, any name, because if the object of it is to interrogate, different departments of government. But the moment you wear the cloak of a politician, you are viewed from the prism of politics and not the prism of activism or trying to make the society better. And so now they have also endorsed the ADC. So it's not just about, activism or civil society trying to mirror the society and then create alternative. They are going to view it from politics. And the fact that we do not operate a parliamentary system of government, and you're not, opposition government in parliament, will also create problem and challenges. And I don't know, there's a matter by the DSS in court, and I don't know what the outcome of that matter is for now. And if the court rule one way or the other, it's certainly still going to put, a big what do you call it, question mark on this whole altruistic platform. So the name, I think there should be, perhaps somebody can call it another name, because really it is the objective that matters, so that, the objective is not defeated, with this consistent use of the name shadow cabinet, shadow government.
Apologies for cutting you short, but for want of time, legal expert Mubarak Soshoma, thank you for your time. Always a pleasure having you on the news.